Infinite blessings, one and all. Friendship. What is a friendship, and how to tell whether a friendship is true? And what is the most important friendship or relationship that you have in life? So, first of all, what is a friendship? It is a relationship. And just as with a partnership or what else is there? Partnership, relationship. Okay, just the two then. I think there's a third. But they both have in common the word ship. And a relationship is to relate. Starts with relating to each other. So a relationship is built out of relating. Look, how are you? Hope you're all well. And what I was shown is that, so on my journey, I used to be very centered in the group. I was there to assist others when they were in times of need. And when I found myself in that position, I was very surprised at the time how isolated I became and how nobody was there to assist me. I know why, because if I was the one always helping others, how would they be able to help me when I was the person who always helped them? It makes sense. I understand it and I accept it, and it helped me to grow. So, what I was shown in life, there is an expression: staying afloat, trying to keep your head above water. And troubled times, troubled waters, the turbulent waters of life. So, in the waters of life, things go up and down. Sometimes the sea is calm and tranquil, other times it's turbulent. And in those times where the sea is rough, if we're holding on to anything which is negative, such as guilt or fear or denial or anything which weighs us down, it's like putting stones in our pockets, and it further weighs us down and it takes us under. Yeah. It's important to stay connected because it is others which bring us joy and also allow us to reflect our own issues upon them, or for us to see our own issues in them so that we're able to address them. So in the turbulent waters of life, a friendship is somebody who allows you to board their ship, so that you relate with, that then allows you to take time to rest. Force yourself out into the matrix world. And if built out of mutual love, respect, and an understanding of the direction you're taking, a friendship, the relationship that you're building together, built out of a relation, relating with each other, is like building the two halves out of the same material. Bolted together, they will float, and they will sail through even the stormiest of seas. And that ship is there so that any time that your waters of life become more turbulent, you can climb on board that ship, knowing that it will steer you true, that it will allow you to rest, that it will allow you a safe space to exist and to share and to take some time away from treading water, away from trying to stay afloat on your own. But if that ship is built out of a difference of opinions or a difference of wants or desires or directions, we all have friendships which are built out of varying situations and events. So sometimes you have a party friend and you only ever go out if you party together, like when I used to go out partying. And if they want you to come out partying and you've chosen to go a new direction, and they're trying to pull you, one of two things will happen. Either you go that way with them and you go against yourself and you become led astray, and then you become isolated from yourself, and you have to go into that state of deep rest where you assess the situation and come out the other side with more knowledge of who you are and your true path. Or built out of a difference of opinions is like building that ship out of two different materials. Yes, bolted together they will float, but the first storm that comes along, the first test that comes along to test that friendship, will split them, because they are not built out of the same core foundational material. They're not built out of love and respect for each other. They're built out of separate wants and desires, a separate path that they want to go on. And it is best if they are trying to pull you over here and you know that this is your route that you are taking, that it is best for that friendship to split. Because even if it is taking you to some form of rest and relaxation and a degree of feeling wanted, that somebody does relate to you, that they do understand you, if they're taking you off course, they're taking control over the vessel and where you steer it. They're taking control over your life. And the only person that ever has or should have control over everything in your life is you. So, question: what is the most important relationship? What's the other word? Relationship. The third ship word. What's the most important relationship that you have in your life? Who is it with? Who do you think is the most important relationship that you have? Who is it with? What person is most important in your relating? Yeah. To go into slightly more depth than yourself, the most important relationship you have is with your thoughts, because it is your thoughts which create everything in your life. Your thoughts come before your emotions. Your thoughts come before your actions. Your thoughts are what align you vibrationally with what is around you and attracts that from the universe. It is your thoughts that create everything. And if you close your eyes and you think about, you visualize within your mind's eye anything flying, soaring in the sky with the eagles, that to me is now a reality. I am experiencing that reality in this very moment. So therefore we can do anything, maybe not within this material realm, within these physical bodies, but within our consciousness, we can. And that is then what relates and leads to anxiety, is a want to control our thoughts and to control the thoughts of potential future situations. I think about something that might happen in the future. Fuck, what if that happens? I best grab hold of that thought and look at it from every single possible angle so that I can come to every single possible conclusion so that I'm prepared in every single possible way. Yeah, but it's probably not going to happen, is it? And by actually focusing on it, you're growing that within your reality. You are creating that. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and what you focus upon grows. You create everything in the world, everything within your perspective and version of the world. And to be kind, it's the same with everything. Accept. You have a thought. Acknowledge the thought. Okay, that's an interesting thought. Accept the thought. Don't try and push it away. Accept it for what it is. And then analyze it. Why did I have that thought? Interesting. Okay. And then ownership. You just let it go. Allow it, accept it, allow it, analyze it, look at it, learn from it, let it go. And then return to being the creator of your own life, the author of your own story. Don't allow that thought to come in and get caught in the egoic want to control, the roundabout that you can get caught on, because that gives away your authenticity over your story. It is like just running a loop, like in the films where people go into to do a jewellery heist or something and they put the CCTV on a loop. That becomes our thought, looping over and over and over. And we get stuck and we can't go forwards until we've stopped going over what was. And it's the same with the book. You can't turn to the next page until you've finished reading the previous one. There's so many people in Toronto, in Canada in general, but in Toronto that are awakened. I don't know if it's just that I'm connected with a lot of you, but there seems to be a very, I don't know, a point of enlightenment that is with you and where you are. It's good to see you all, and I hope that you're all connecting with each other, because each of us has our own pieces of the jigsaw, and by sharing with each other we can assist not only each other in their next step forward or their next breakthrough or the completion of that next piece of the jigsaw, but then they can then assist us along the way. So the most important relationship is with yourself, and it is to relate to yourself, to allow yourself to have these thoughts, to accept them as part of what is, but know that they are not you. They do not define you. They are happening within you, and they're there to be experienced and learned from. And whatever it is you've come here to learn, in whatever way you have chosen to do so, it may be that you've come here to experience complete inner turmoil, because perhaps that will give you that one lesson that you can't get any other way. And you won't get it until the very end of your journey. But everything you do is for a purpose. And you create everything in your life. So you are the master of your own destiny. We do have a destiny that is written within the stars, and you create it in this very moment with everything that you do. You can change your final destiny at any one point. With every action you take, you are rewriting history. But at the end of it all rivers lead back to the ocean. We are all going to the same final, very end destination. Just depends how many lifetimes you want to take to get there. And then it all starts again. So a need to connect is when we connect with another soul, another being, it reminds us of who we are. It's why I am able to show love to people, or people that receive my love. It's simply because I remind them of who they are. And as I've said, some people will think I'm a complete twat, and I get that, because they will see within me something which angers them, that they cannot accept the love within themselves, so they project anger onto me. And there will always be some form of anger to reflect onto anybody. There's always, within every aspect of all of us, just as within the yin and yang, there is always dark within the light. And there's always light within the dark. Yet the darkness So I've done a previous video on demons, how to vanquish demons, like the angel and the devil, but more demons. And it seems that the higher we raise, the lighter we become in ourselves. We all do. We all feel alone in this world because almost that we're not part of this world, because we're not really, are we? We're not part of this fucking madhouse of a matrix where everybody's running around like headless chickens trying to collect coins and buy shit. We're here to help raise the collective consciousness in our own ways, and to do so we have to exist within this realm. Again, that's why it's very important we stay grounded to this realm, not to float off too much, because we can become so attached to wanting to go home and stay at home that we can no longer exist within this realm. I spent too long there for a while, and I couldn't really process information. It was within this 3D world, it become very, very hard to just exist here. Hard to remember things that happened just a little while ago. And it wasn't beneficial. I learnt a lot, but it was more just because it was so beautiful just to have that connection. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here. I haven't come from source. You could heaven. It's not heaven, but you know, I haven't come from the higher realm to this realm to then want to go back up here the whole time. I've come here to exist here, to do what is required here and learn what is required from here. Let me read through your comments. Yeah, 100%. Guilt is the main control emotion that is used by the system, by those that seek to enslave us to do so. It is the most inherent tool used by mainstream religion, and it is what we then separate ourselves from the connection to who we are with. Nobody else needs, it is all us. They know this, and they know that if they instill enough guilt within us, that we will switch off our connection ourselves. And then we go into our little bubble, into our little box, and we stay there. We get what we've got around us, we get our little bit of the pie, and we just try and hide to protect that little bit we've got. There's like 95% of the world's wealth is owned by 12 families. It's fucking ridiculous. The people who are rich within societal understanding of wealth are nothing compared to these people. The people that own the Federal Reserve, that own the pharmaceutical companies, the seed banks, and they run the education systems. They run everything through advertising to get us to buy shit we don't need, so that we can work long hours making the shit that we don't need, so we can buy it, so that we're kept in this little loop of just having enough, but being too tired and being too fearful of losing what we do have to look outside. And what the fuck? There's no need to be scared of external threat anymore, of external terrorism, if your own fucking president is gonna most likely do you all in. And that is the biggest fucking shit show I've ever seen. It is an absolute joke, but I don't spend too much time focusing on what's going on. It's the same, it's the same here, it's the same in America. People put in the seat, the puppets that they use, and if you can get it to the point where you're fearful of your own leader and their decisions and what they might take away from you just because they're able to, there's no need for an external threat when it's on the door. It's beautiful to hear. Warp vibrations. It's yeah, it is. Yeah, the world is very twisted. Yet, as you know yourself, the healing of this world does not come through changing or healing another or healing the external world. It all comes from changing and healing the internal world. And the healing work we do has a profound and everlasting effect on the entire collective consciousness, not just of this planet, but of the universe itself. And we are almost the front line. It's like the whole universe is at war, the side of dark and light. And that whole battlefield, like in battles of old, where the two leaders would do battle to decide the outcome, instead of the whole army having to go to war. We are that front line. So instead of the whole universe of light and dark doing battle, it all takes place in this one realm. And it is all dependent on what we do within ourselves to what is the outcome of the entire universe. Know that you are strong. Know that you are a warrior of light, and that together, united we stand and together we rise. And that we are all here to support each other. I used to hate technology because of its control and its removal of creativity within younger generations and its grasp of people's emotions and their way of now feeling wanted. You're a warrior of light. Badass. Never forget that. I am you as you are me. We are all that was or ever shall be. Universal energy dancing in the play of life. And even scientifically, they cannot deny this is right. Yeah, I love that little poem. I did my first open mic the other night, and I'm going to share that tomorrow. Did mental health awareness poetry, and it was nice. It was well received. Did 3 poems about basically not keeping it all in, talking, sharing. Because if we do keep it in, we get to the point where it either rots and festers and decays and eats us from the inside, or we explode and we spread that anger and hatred and venom over somebody else. So be very mindful of the thoughts you have. Be accepting of the ones which are negative, but do not follow them. So view yourself as a tree. Each of your potential pathways is a different branch which is sprouting off it. And every time you have anything which is not true to where you want to go, every time a new path branches off, created by the illusion of fear and separation, just cut it off. Stop growing it. Stop feeding it attention and energy, because your attention on it, even the attention to want to remove it, you are growing it with your attention. You're shining your light of attention on it and growing it. Stop it. Cut it off. Deny it any more energy, any more food, and we focus on the positives. We focus on love. Go out and do something nice for somebody else, and that will instantly connect you to the remembrance of who you are. Ground yourself in gratitude and guide yourself always from your heart with love. Inner standing. One of my quotes I've not shared yet. An inner standing of self brings an overstanding of everything else. So I did an inner standing of self brings an understanding of everything else, but we're not under. An inner standing of self brings an overstanding of everything else, because we get a wider perspective, so we can see the whole world from a bird's eye view. We can easily understand it. We can easily accept the shortcomings of other people if we accept every aspect of ourselves. By accepting the darkness within me and not the flaws, but the fact that I have every emotion, every potential reality is there to be experienced. Every potential emotion of the entire collective is within me. And I know that what I focus my light on and what path I choose to take is the one I will walk. Fear comes in, thoughts come in. I'm not some fucking, I'm getting to be enlightened, but I'm not there. It's not like I just float around. And all these people who say, I love and light and rainbows, I just live like, that's bullshit. That is absolute shit. They're denying a very potential, they're potentially going to end up in a worse place than we are. The people who accept the fact that it's day and night, it's light and dark, it's part of reality. You can't exist riding a unicorn or floating on rainbows all the time. It's impossible. You know, there's not this, not existing in those realms. And people who say, oh yeah, well if all these beings on other realms which look down upon us, lowly humans, so well hang on a sec, you lot up there, you know how it is up there, you know it's beautiful. We're the people, we're the beings, the consciousness aspects that have come here to experience this realm, to almost make a sacrifice to gain the information from here. That's why we experience these raw base emotions and these ups and downs, because we've chosen to come here to learn these things. It's Philip Goodlife, he's like, oh yeah, all these beings in the higher realms, they look down upon you with all your negative emotions. Well, but they're not here doing it, are they? They're not here experiencing these things so that they can gain this information, so they can expand the collective consciousness. They've stayed there in bliss, you know, good on them. But those of us that are here have chosen to do so in order to expand and benefit everybody. It is all choice. You have to choose to forget who you are in order to be able to come here and remember again. What's the two biggest questions that burn within the very centre of us all? God granted it, you grant it yourself. Yeah, there's always a choice. Change the thing, or change the way you view the thing. Yeah, exactly. Why am I here and who created me? So, if I was God, which that's a controversial topic, but I am the Father I One, just as Jesus Christ himself knew to be true. So if I was able if I created everything, if I was source, prime creator, God, whatever word you want to give it, the universe itself, and I could, with a single conscious thought, create everything or anything, and I knew everything, and it was all just at a play that I was watching to amuse myself. The only two things that I didn't know was where I was from and why I am here. I've got all this stuff I can do. I can create all these worlds and all these things going on over here. It's all great, but where am I from and why am I here? So if that was the only two things that I did not know, and I was able to create anything and everything within my conscious, just because I could, I would split myself into infinite different versions and infinite different realities to experience an infinite different number of potential events and situations, so that I could gain as much knowledge as possible. And perhaps one of those aspects that I separated from myself, that remembered that it is part of myself, and returned home through whatever manner of learnings, would bring with it the information of how I could then remember where I'm from and why I'm here. So that's what I would do. I would send off like a field trip, like a school trip. You go out to collect some information, you do some learnings, you go back to the class at the end and you all put your information, your learnings together, and then you come to a wider and more complete conclusion with all the data. Perhaps that's what we're doing. We're just here on a school trip to collect data to return to source. And that is why nothing you do, no step you ever take, is truly wrong unless you allow guilt or self-judgment to control you, which again has been used to enslave humanity through mainstream religion and the powers that be for a very long time now, and it's been used to do absolutely. So I just lost the internet there. It's very stormy here, so the internet's a little bit on and off. Oh, nice. Spiritual retreat in Peru, that sounds nice. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. Now that we all can agree on the same thing, that we are the same thing, experiencing itself in different ways. Yeah. You can't do it alone. And the information which I am given, it is my responsibility to pass on. And if I don't, I'm not being true to myself. I'm not being true to you. I'm not being true to who I am, and I will never be happy unless we live as who we are vibrationally, unless we exist in harmony with our core self. We will never find peace or happiness within this life. And if your core self and who you are is an artist, or likes to sit on the beach all day doing nothing, or likes to run, or likes to whatever it is, whatever aspect of existence you are within yourself, live true to that and you will never go wrong. As long as you're staying grounded in love and compassion, you cannot go wrong. I'm not saying just go out and be a cunt, because that's not beneficial to anybody. And that is coming from a place of disconnection and programs which are covering up who we are. But if you do something, if you do an act of something which comes from more of a dark place than the light, it's not something to deny, it's something to embrace and to learn from, because it has happened for a reason. to deny it means that it goes in vain, and you will repeat that until you take those learnings. So you have to take it, you have to accept it, and know that it is for your learning as well as the other person involved. It's all here, man. I've lived this. I've lived a very colourful life, and I've lived several lives, even just in this one, let alone in past lives. In one of my past lives, I was responsible for the genocide of like a lot of people. It was really weird. I was like a secret military general that worked for this king in France, and I'd go around and I'd kill people that would spoke up against him. And when I went back and healed that, there were all these souls trapped in this bubble, and I was trying to free them with a hammer, and I couldn't. And then the woman said, try using a pickaxe, and I hit it with the pickaxe, and it broke, and all these souls came out, and it embraced me as they were, and I fucking cried like a baby, because I was forgiven, and I accepted that version and that life, and that all of that inner like weight that I was carrying just melted away instantly. It's magical. It's mad. It's fucking mad, the things that I've experienced. 5 years ago, if somebody said to me, oh, you'll be going off meeting all these weird and wonderful light beings and taking behind the scenes and showing the grids of reality and how it all works, and that it's really just a big massive computer game, and you're like the character, and you're not really a character, you're the person controlling the character, and everybody else is other characters, but you're the main character. So you have to be true to yourself, and you'll keep going over the same levels until you actually pass the level. But sometimes you've actually got to go off course to find the secret treasure box hidden in that little room over there, so that you've then got the information, the tools to go forward and complete the level, and blah blah blah, and all this stuff I've done. And that I'd be talking about love and saying I love you, and actually truly and honestly saying to another man I love you, without being like, oh, what the fuck. The difference in me is beyond belief, and that's why nobody around me in the world can understand me. Okay. Right, I'm going to finish that. I'll finish the Facebook Live because it's not working.